Hi guys, welcome to another Dead Air video. Today I'm in the All Saints Cemetery in Newcastle upon Tyne. If you've ever read any of these great books by Rob Kirkup, Darren Ritson or so on, or just the history of Newcastle, you will know that this is a reputedly haunted graveyard. And well, this video is not a happy video. I'm bringing you some news that's really sort of angered me a little bit, because within a few weeks this beautiful graveyard will be no more.
The current All Saints Church is a late 18th century church on Lower Pilgrim Street, but a Christian church has existed on this site since 1150, when it was known as All Hallows. There's even a legend that a Roman pantheon once occupied this site before. Part of the original church once covered a part of the land now occupied by All Saints Burial Ground. I'm not going to go into the history of renovations to the church, but eventually the church was closed and the graveyard was deconsecrated in 1961. The building was used by the Royal Northern Symphonia until they moved to the brand new Sage building in 2004. My sister has been able to have access to the old church and has photographed it on a couple of occasions. In 2019, the Evangelical Presbyterian Church signed a 150-year lease for the land, and the building has reopened for events in October 2019. This area of Newcastle has many ghost stories, with many within the churchyard and some in the streets around. John Alderson was the Beadle of the church. He would dig fresh graves for the recently deceased to be buried in. One night, a passerby noticed a faint glow coming from All Saints graveyard and movement seen through the shadows. The witness ran to the local police station, and John was discovered to be digging up coffins he had buried earlier in the day and taking the lead from the coffin lids. This metal was worth a lot of money back then. In July 1854, John Alderson was found guilty of his crime. It is said that he broke into a total of 5 family vaults and 9 coffins were broken into. Along with his wife and elderly mother, he faced an 18-month imprisonment for hard labour. His bell ringer and helper, Hewison Marshall, received 12 months imprisonment. He became known as Jack the Bad Beadle. His ghost is still said to haunt the church and its graveyard that he was so associated with. In the early 1800s, Martha Wilson lost her husband at an early age. Depression kicked in, and it wouldn't be long until she decided to take her own life. She lived in Broadchair, now a street that Newcastle Crown Court and a Tesco supermarket occupy. One night she tied a rope around her neck and jumped from a wooden beam. Martha was denied a burial in All Saints churchyard, as suicide was considered unholy. She was buried at crossroads nearby, with a stake driven through her heart. The exact location remains unconfirmed, but I've spoken to a local historian who claims she's buried at Crawhall Road. Her ghost is known as the Quayside Silky and has been seen at night around the dark alleys between the Quayside and All Saints churchyard.
So as you see, this is a very historic part of Newcastle. This graveyard has been here for literally hundreds of years. Jack the Beadle is said to have dug many of these graves, and this was where he was caught stealing lead from coffins not long after they were buried during the night. His ghost is said to haunt this very cemetery. Many people have claimed to have seen it. Others claim it's more of a legend, a bit of a folklore, that women would tell their children to deter them from going into the graveyard and getting up to no good. And maybe that's a little bit of the truth about it. Maybe there is not physically a ghost in this graveyard, but that's not the point. This is a historical part of Newcastle. You can see these old graves, they're very old. Many of these go back literally hundreds and hundreds of years, longer than you think, and they're just the ones that are marked. There are many more people buried down there, where the stones don't even exist anymore. But the sad bit of news I've got to really sort of bring you about this place is that, yes, the church, you can see it behind me, has scaffolding on it. That's because it's been renovated in the past 6 months or so. There's a new group, the Presbyterians are taking it over. It's going to be their new headquarters in Newcastle. But they've got no plans for this graveyard, this beautiful old graveyard that's been here for literally hundreds of years, because all of this plans to become a car park. They're going to just dig up all the bodies, exhume everyone, move all these headstones and put it around the walls, get rid of it all, maybe move the bodies, cremate the bones. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but this is all going to be tarmacked. People are going to park their cars here who are going to attend church services. Of course, back in the day when this church was fully operational, people wouldn't have used their cars to drive. They weren't invented, they weren't, in use at the time. So you've got this now need for people to drive into the city centre and park here. So they're going to be parked on what is essentially these old graves. I'm just going to show you around, flip the camera around, look at some of these. I mean, 1840 for this one. Some of them go back even further, like 1803. And yeah, of course, people won't have living memory of relatives in here. There won't be grandparents in here or brothers and sisters in here, but even so, these are ancestors to people. Look at that, 1799. And it's just such a shame. You can think that people are going to just turn this into a car park. I mean, there's plenty of other car parks in Newcastle, by the way. But it's such a shame, and you see all these, and yeah. Does that say 1698? It does. So that's what we're talking about. Graves going back to the 17th century in here, and let me just show you this. This one's amazing. Yeah, this is a creepy old graveyard. It is a scary place to be at night. It's very creepy indeed. I've been in here at night. You see rabbits and wildlife, and they absolutely scare you to pieces. But the point is, this should be protected. And yeah, look, over the years, houses have been built around it. And what's even more disturbing is over here, because I mean, they haven't even started to exhume bodies yet. And then look what they've done. I mean, they've started building, and they've just used this graveyard as a building site. Look at this one. It's so sad that all of these bodies are gonna get dug up. In fact, I'm trying not to even walk on any of these stones. I have no idea what their plans are, because it's deconsecrated, so it's no longer holy ground anymore. Look at all this. And whether you believe in ghosts or not, it's just so sad to think that something that should, in my opinion, be fully protected, it's just going to be tarmacked over. People parking their 4x4s and their SUVs on here. I just think it's such a shame. It is such a shame. Just a little wander up here. Like I say, I've been in this graveyard many a times. It's fun to come into at night when you just want to have a little bit of a scare. And up there you can see the Tyne Bridge. That's how close you are to the main site of Newcastle upon Tyne. We even once got a profile picture when we did the old radio show in this place, just to see the old graves with that to be iconic, the Tyne Bridge in the background. And my point is, just look at what they're doing. These are people's graves that are just being left, and just a rubble, a mess just placed on top of. I think it's absolutely disgusting.
No matter how old a grave is, it should be respected. You wouldn't desecrate a recent grave, so why would you do this to an old one? I put my concerns to the All Saints Presbyterian Church, and they sent me the following statement. We are not planning to remove all of the graveyard. The ones closest to the church will be the first to be affected. We will try to preserve the legible gravestones somewhere at the side for people to view. Nothing is likely to happen, though, for the next few months. As I was filming, a member of the church came out to talk to me about their future plans. They believe that the bodies will not be exhumed and they will remain on the land, while the headstones are removed and a car park is tarmacked over. On my way out, I noticed this ancient relic sat in a wheelbarrow, possibly from the original medieval church. As of October 2019, if you still want to see All Saints Churchyard on the Lower Pilgrim Street, I suggest you're quick.